Can Manchester United finally, this summer, have the clear out that we as fans have been waiting 5, 6, 7 years for? That's what reports from the BBC and the Telegraph are suggesting. And I'm going to run through all of them in this video, explain where they come from, blah, blah, blah. And also explain to you why I'm genuinely more optimistic of a clear out this summer than I have been previously. And I think there's quite a bit of evidence mounting towards that. If you haven't subscribed to United People's TV, make sure you come on board. It's going to be a busy summer here. And I hope it's going to be the busiest summer that we've seen, really. Because there aren't many players inside that squad that I would stand up with chest and protect and say that I don't want them to leave. And then that's why you're seeing these reports from the Telegraph and the BBC, which I'll run through in a minute, sort of applauded by fans. This idea that Man United, that INEOS are prepared to sell most of the squad is music to the ears of a lot of fans that have kind of had enough of what we've seen this year. Now, we dive into the article. And look, Man United previously, we may have gone after Florian Wirtz from Leverkusen or maybe Jamal Musiala from Bayern Munich. But we haven't got that sort of money to spend on individuals anymore, not unless there is a bumper summer of sales. Sources have indicated that they are conscious of United's need to be nimble and flexible in the market in their efforts to reshape the squad. It's not to say that every single Manchester United player is going to be sold. It's not to say that Bruno can be sold, or Dalot, or Shaw, or Rashford, or Onana, or anybody. But there's only 3 that are untouchable. And the 3 are Højlund, Mainu, and Garnacho. Now, I personally would add Bruno into that. But other than that, if the right bid comes in, and let's be honest, if the right bid comes in for any player, really, in football, I know that they're saying that Garnacho, it's not going to happen, but if a £200 million offer comes in for Real Madrid, they would sit down at the table. Every player has their price. Now, the reason I'm optimistic about this summer being different to last summer, right? There's a video I did 10 months ago. Talked about the ruthless clear out happening. I spoke about Jack Butland and Phil Jones's contracts expiring, and I spoke about Maguire and Henderson, and I spoke about Van der Beek, and I spoke about Tuanzebe, and I spoke about so many other players, and some left and some didn't. And the clear out wasn't as widespread as it could have been. You know what's giving me genuine optimism that it's going to be different this time? Is that for the first summer since 2005, the Glazers are not in control of footballing decisions. And we've got Dave Brailsford, Jim Ratcliffe, and soon to be Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, and Dan Ashworth in charge of the football operations of our football club. And we have already seen change happening. Because when it comes to Manchester United as a business, and you might not like to do that as a football fan, all you care is about what's seen on the pitch, but from a sustainability perspective, Man United have been just hemorrhaging money for so long. Seeing this, staff, private cars have been cut by INEOS. This one here, which I've spoken about in the live show a couple of times now. Man United cutting the amount of tickets that are given to staff and the after party and everything for the FA Cup final. Staff are angry. That's just cost cutting. They're the marginal gains cost cutting. But Brailsford will absolutely be looking at this squad and the wages, which I will run through in a minute, and going, where are we maximising our potential here? Or have we overinvested into the wrong areas? That's what Brailsford will be doing on a sort of a micro and a macro level in a way that no one has done at Manchester United since the Glazers took over. And also what's coming ahead is potentially this as well, which adds into the fact that Manchester United have got to look at this wage bill and go, are we getting the most from our money? Which I'll run through, as I said, in a second. But this spending cap, if it happens, would be based on TV revenue. So last season, Southampton got 104 mil, and it'll be on a multiplier of that. So say it's 4.5 times what that would be. How much would Manchester United be able to spend? It wouldn't actually affect us in ways it would affect Chelsea and City. If that multiplier went to 5 times, United would be able to spend more. Now, United voted against that because, of course, we want to be able to spend our revenue. Don't want to be tied down to what the lowest club in the league's TV revenue was and the multiplier of that. But spending caps may well soon be here. And it all ties into the fact that this list here has got to be, I would say, torn up. Now, of course, 25% of those wages aren't going to be paid next year because we failed to get into the Champions League. Well done, lads. So what I want to quickly do here is this, right? I want to take a look at this list, go full screen on this one, and we run through it. Now, given that we don't have access to these contracts, we can't take these as a gospel number. So let's call it a 10% margin of error. Say if it's not 350, it'll be 315, thereabouts. We'll take it off the total at the end. But what I want to do is this, right? Let's write down some players and let's write down how much we think we could get for them and also what wages they're on as well. Because Casemiro, right? First on the list, top wages at the club. I reckon we could probably get in the region, I don't know whether this is optimistic or not, 20 million, and he's on, say, 350k a week, right? Let's see who's second on that list. Raphael Varane. There's no way that Raphael Varane should be getting a new contract at Manchester United, not on those sorts of wages. If he was to take a massive wage cut, well, we won't get any money for him because he'd leave on a free, but we would save in the region of 340k. Neither of those two, in my opinion, should be staying at the club. Huge wages saved. Now, Marcus Rashford may well leave. I don't think he will personally, but it's written inside these articles here, everybody. And that includes, well, not everybody, apart from those three, Haaland, Manu and Garnacho. I'm not going to put Rashford down on this list, personally. Again, you might disagree with this, but I'm just putting ones that I feel absolutely for certain that should be leaving our club this summer. Not necessarily. Some of them are free transfers and some of them are being sold, of course. Jadon Sancho, 195k. Right. Sancho, I think in the region of... I'll go to the lower end, but I think it should be more than that. And say it's on, let's call it 195k, right? Who else is definitely, I think, should be leaving? Christian Eriksen's only got 1 year left on his contract. So realistically, Manchester United, what we should be doing is trying to sell Christian Eriksen this summer, probably in the region of, let's call it 5 mil. And what's that? That's 150k. Who else is here? Luke Shaw. I don't know whether we'll sell Luke Shaw this summer, but given that he's actually had less availability than Anthony Martial, it's genuinely a possibility. It really, really is. And Victor Lindelof, I absolutely would. I'll leave it like that, just for now, right? This list is not exhaustive. Lindelof, I think we should be able to get 10 mil for Lindelof. And what's he on, wage-wise? 120 grand. Right, let's pull up the calculator. Wages, right? 350k, 340, 250, 195, 150, 120, right? And as I said, let's take off 10% times 0.9. So that's 1.26 million per week that we'd be saving on wages. And 20, 50, 65 million in sales. Just from these. Casemiro leaving, I think it's a guarantee with the amount of money that he's on. If we get the right offer in from Saudi Arabia, of course, which is part of this. No, you can only sell a player if someone's going to buy it. Varane, I don't think we should be giving a contract to at the level that I think that he demands. And therefore, I think he'll leave. Martial living on a free. Sancho, we should be selling. If Eriksen's going to leave on a free, just like Lindelof, I'll be honest, you probably should add Wan-Bissaka into this as well. Let me go back and add Wan-Bissaka into this. Where is he? He's on 90 grand a week. I think we should be able to get 20 mil. 20 mil for him, not 20k, a bit harsh. And he's on 90k a week. So add that, increase that by 90, so that'll go 1.35 mil. Add 20 mil onto that, 85 mil. Does that really drastically change the quality of Manchester United's starting 11? I'd argue not really. And certainly with some of them. And that's 85 million that can come into the club. And over 1.35 million in wages per week that we would save. These are the sorts of things that Brailsford, that Ratcliffe, that INEOS will be doing. This is making United sustainable as a business again. This is clearing a squad which is, you just overinvested in the wrong places with the wrong players. And there's going to be certain players that Rashford may leave. Yeah, I'm predicting that he won't, but Rashford may leave. And others may leave. There's hardly anybody who's going to be protected in this squad. And that is something I'm desperate to see. And I think there's more chance of it happening this summer than ever before. And just as a top level, I'm sure there's way more names you can add to that list. United can make big money, save big money, and therefore reinvest big money into actually, you know what, genuine squad building, which is something we still haven't done.